So now that I have that little bead from wrapping it around, I'm going to take that needle that's associated with B, whole B, and I'm going to press it through that second signature, and you will see that I'm going to pull that thread fully out, and then I'm going to set that aside just like I did with my first. Okay, I'm going to get my next thread, which is purple again, and I have it coming out right now on the right side. So I'm going to take my needle to the left side, and I'm going to fully wrap it around to create that little bead. And then I will take that needle and push it into that hole for signature 2 and pull the thread fully. I'm going to get my next thread, the mint green. It's coming out on the left side, so I'm going to take the needle to the right side and wrap it. Like I mentioned, that little bead there kind of locks it in place so it doesn't move. And I'm going to take that needle and push it into that hole. And you will see that it's fully pushed through. Then my last plum colored thread, which is right now on the right side. I'm going to take my needle to the left side to do a full wrap. Try to make sure you don't actually knot up your thread when you do this, because that can be challenging, which I think I just did. So I actually took the needle through the thread, so I'm going to try to undo that. Okay. And the wax on your thread makes it easier to undo problems or knots. And then I'm going to take that needle through. And then last but not least, I have my final mint thread. It's on the left side, so I'm going to take the needle to the right side. And I'm going to wrap it. And then I'm going to take that needle and push it through the next signature, and you will see there that it's coming through. Okay. So now I'm going to, now that I have my boards attached, I'm going to start the real process of sewing, which will be repetition. Okay, so I'll only take you through a couple signatures, but you will find that everything repeats itself. Okay. So since we just finished off down here, I'm going to put my little tape with letters back on for you to see. Okay, now that everything's nice and tight. There we go. You should be able to see that. And I'm going to start at F and E, okay, because that's where I just finished off. So I'm going to take my plum thread for hole E, and I am going to, I'm inside the signature for all my threads. I'm going to take that plum thread and I'm going to push it out to hole F. And I am going to take my needle that has the mint green thread that's coming out hole F, and I'm going to push it through hole E. And you will see that they have just switched places. Okay. And you will have inside the 2 threads. And I'm going to repeat that for each kind of pairing, if you want to think of them as little pairings or groupings. So D and C will now switch places. Oh, always try to not actually stab your thread, which I seem to be doing a lot of. So that mint green that was associated with D is coming out of hole C right now. And then I am taking my purple thread that was associated with hole C, and I'm going to have it come through and out hole D. Okay. And then I will do that same process with hole A and B. They're going to switch places. Because we end up doubling the thread up inside each signature, you're going to find that your spine becomes bulky the more signatures you have. And that's very normal for a Coptic binding. I like to put my signatures underweight in advance. I think it can be helpful with a little bit of that swell. But with the doubling the thread up, you can't quite eliminate it completely. Okay, so I'm simply taking the time to give an extra little tug. You always pull your thread in the direction that it's naturally going in, okay, because I want my thread to be tight, okay, and you'll notice on the inside they're fairly tight. They've switched places, okay. So for the next step, I'm going to link these threads onto the signatures below them, and then we'll attach our next signature, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to close signature 2. I'm going to take signature 3. I'm lining it up and placing it on top of signature 2, and I'm going to open it to the center, and I'm going to place my weight inside to hold it in place. Okay. So what you're going to want to make sure you do is always keep with a certain rhythm, okay? So I'm going to show you how to link on and then add the next signature. So right now I have my green thread, and I am going to take that needle and I'm going to keep it to the kind of outside of this pairing, okay? And I'm going to slide it in between that purple thread that's in between the board and signature 1. So I'm coming from the outside or the left side, and then I am going up into the hole A for signature 3, okay, and I'm going to pull that fully through. I'm going to take my thread for signature B. This is a pairing station, so I'm going to stay on the left side of it. So in this instance, I'm staying to the right. I'm sliding my needle between the board and signature 1. Okay, you see that? Behind that thread, and I'm going to link it on so it's wrapping around, and then that needle will go into hole B, okay, and I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to find my needle for hole C. I'm going to keep to the outside, okay, if I consider these two a station, I'll stay on the outside or to the left side. I'm going to take my needle between the first board in this first signature. I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to push my needle through hole C of signature 3. And you always want to keep everything organized as best you can so your threads don't get tangled. That can be a bigger challenge for some than others. I'm going to take the needle for hole D. I'm going to stay to the right and go behind that thread that is connecting the first board with signature 1. Always careful with my placement, and then I'm going to place the needle through hole D, signature 3. Now the great thing about Coptic bindings is they can be very, very large. You know, typically if you see book arts that have like wearable art or wearable books,